Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining this pre-lunch for our MTV Mental Health Action Day. As Mental Health Action Day is on May the 15th, on tomorrow, but we are doing this pre-lunch and we just thank you all for joining. As we're coming on, we're talking about mental health, we're talking about life transitions, and we have some awesome speakers that are going to be on this panel today. And again, we just thank you all for joining us. Please tune in. Please share this right now on your social media, wherever you are watching this. And again, I am going to bring on first Dr. Christy Norwood and allow her to give a brief introduction about just a little bit about herself, who she is. And so I'm going to add her now. Hi, Dr. Norwood. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for joining us on this great evening. And so if you would like to just share a little bit about yourself, you have the floor.
Absolutely. Well, hey, everyone. I'm just excited to be here. So thank you for just creating this space and empowering all of us to be able to move towards action as far as mental health is concerned. But I am Dr. Christy Norwood. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I'm on the East Coast here in Virginia. Full time, I work at Hampton University as the director of the Student Mental Health Counseling Center, where I also teach in the Department of Psychology there. And then I also have a nonprofit organization called Remind You Wellness and Outreach, where my goal is just to work with the community and partner with organizations to help shift that stigma of mental health. And as we're doing and talking about tonight, move us into action. So I'm just excited to be in community and in connection with everyone tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I love it. Remind you. You have to tell us later how you came up with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And so next we're going to bring on Miss Nikki Jordan, and she's going to come to the stage now and just kind of share a little bit. Miss Nikki, thank you also for being with us on this great evening. A little bit about who you are and what you would like to share with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today. I really, really appreciate it. And back for the second year in a row. Woo, woo, I'm just saying. So thank you so much. First and foremost, I have to say that I'm the daughter of the King. I'm a lover of his people. And I'm a supporter of almost everything purple. Okay, almost. You got to throw that almost in there. So beyond that, I'm a woman. I'm a speaker. I'm an educator. I am a youth advocate. I'm a woman who is passionate about helping people and build their confidence, and also teaching educators and mentors how to connect and build positive relationships with the youth that they work with. So I'm passionate about the youth and pouring into them. I have my own business called Confidence at Any Size, where I do coaching, training, and speaking to youth, train educators and mentors, and as well as do one-to-one coaching with women. I'm a program director on a nonprofit called Dreamer Camp, which is a summer camp and spring camp for girls, STEAM camp for girls ages 11 to 15. So I could talk a little bit more about that a little later. And yeah, I love helping people and I love building their confidence. So yeah, that's me.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Nikki. I love it. Confidence at any size. And definitely we'll have to share more about your Dreamer Camp, because I know you have that going coming up this summer.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that people are able to get the information for that so that they can get their babies registered, because that is an awesome program, guys, that she has. So I am just excited. I'm excited to have you ladies here this evening. And so I want this to just be a space where everybody is able to gather and gain information, connect, whatever it is that those that are tuning in, that are watching, because we know that our mental health, we need it. We need our mental health in everything that we do. And so one of the things that I wanted to start out, one of the areas I wanted to start out in, because right now I know both of you are in the have the education background. One of the things that we're experiencing right now is graduation.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about it. I was like, we are experiencing graduations everywhere, whether it's from college or whether it's from, the high school level. And we know that there is good stress and there is bad stress. And so that
Mm-hmm.
we know that many people right now are stressing out. They're trying to get their babies off to college and
Mm-hmm.
just all of these things that are going on. And so I just wanted to, if you, each of you could just share a little bit about why is it that good life changes, like graduating, getting new jobs, all of these different things, why does it create all of these emotional challenges for us? And whoever wants to go first can go ahead.
Yeah, I'll hop in. I mean, I think you hit it really well where you said like we have eustress and we have distress. So we have stress that could be related to positive things like graduation. So our students, for example, at Hampton just graduated on Mother's Day. So
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
some ways, though, it was a loss, right? Along with the gain. And I always like to say we can hold two things that might be different. And so it's navigating, the excitement of this next chapter
Mm-hmm.
for many of them, but it's also grieving, gosh, I'm not going to see my friends in the same way that I have, I'm not going to have the protection right now with just kind of everything that's happening worldwide. Like, what is it going to look like to go into the real world? And so
Mm-hmm.
honoring that stress. And for many, like high school and college students, this is the first major life transition that they may have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be hard. And figuring out how do I navigate that can also be kind of a challenge, but also having seen students like be able to navigate that successfully, it has also been really, really beautiful to watch too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
All
mean,
right.
Dr. Christie basically said it. I mean, it is, I know for me personally, going from high school to college and then college to what we like to call the real world,
Mm-hmm.
it's change. No,
Yeah.
I rarely meet somebody that is okay and just excited about change. You know what I mean? It's these big life changes. These are those pivotal moments. There's like what we like to call mile markers in your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So was this before high school or after high school? Was this, pre-COVID, after COVID? Was this before I had the baby, after I had the baby? There are certain mile markers in your mind that are so big to where that's how you almost measure space and time. That's a pretty big shift and change in
Mm-hmm.
your life. So while graduating is a beautiful thing and is something to be celebrated, it's also a huge change in life transition. In life, it's leaving the known and going into the unknown. And I don't know how many people are truly comfortable with the unknown.
Wow. Yes. And so I just wanted us to kind of touch on that because I know like so many are getting ready to go through that, whether if it's the students, the
Mhm.
parents, like it's like we got a lot of people that are going to be empty nesters. So it's like a lot that goes into that.
Mhm.
Just that whole transition. So thank you ladies for sharing on that. So somebody's listening right now and definitely gonna need some tools to help them cope through that. Definitely that empty nester phase,
Absolutely.
because now you got to find something to do with yourself.
Right.
Mhm. For
Yes.
sure.
So, um, my next question for you, ladies, when we think about people in general, because we know that some people actually, we know people that may be struggling personally. I know people that are struggling right now with their mental health.
Absolutely.
Um, but what about those people that say that they're fine, that say that they're okay, but we don't necessarily really know, we
Mhm.
just know that they're always saying that they're fine. But we know that everybody don't wear their emotions on their sleeve.
Mhm.
And so, what are some ways or some things that we could do for those individuals that are always saying that they're fine so that we can be able to reach out to them as well?
I guess I'll take this one first, and then I'll let the
Okay.
the doc come behind and clean up whatever mess I make. So, it's just that thing of being there and checking on your strong friends,
Hmm.
because the one who's probably saying they're fine probably has had to be fine most of their life.
Mm.
They don't feel like there's probably opportunity not to be fine. because they're so used to being fine for everyone. Speaking as one of those strong friends and one who says they're always fine, sometimes, most of the time, you really do believe that because there's not room or an option to not be okay. It's not till somebody slows you down enough, makes you take a few deep breaths for you to say, oh, wait, I think I do need help, or I think I do need rest, or just whatever that is. So what I would say is continue to check on them, ask more questions besides just how you're doing, and really listen to the answer. Listen to the tone. If you're with them, watch their body language. Listen to the words that they're saying. And I like to say, I actually just did a training yesterday, my art of mentoring training, and I talk about listening and active listening. And one of my quotes I love to say is, listen with your eyes and ears, as well as listen to what's being said, as well as what's not being said. So, and that takes a little time and a little training to do, but you have to listen. Whatever is being said, there's an opposite part of that that's not being said. And I'll give a very quick example for that. When I was teaching, I had several students, but obviously there's one young man who sticks out in my mind, to where anytime I would, talk to him or ask him about his day or weekend or how things are going, he would always say, me and my granny did this, me and my granny did that, all these kind of things. But he was always talking about him and his grandmother. So what that told me was all of the information that he was giving me about the good, the bad, the ugly of whatever granny was doing, or how his granny was going to beat his butt because he was failing my class, right? But also what was not being said was mom and dad. So that informed me, without me having to ask, that mom and dad, for whatever reason, are not in the picture. So now it's for me to then ask appropriate and in appropriate timing and the appropriate type of questions to be able to dig a little deeper to get to that as well, to see, okay, well, where is mom and dad and what is going on with this? And so there's ways to do that. I have a whole training to where I can help with that. But the point is about listening. Active listening. Listen to what they're saying, listen to what they're not. Ask more than surface level questions. Dig deeper. Dig deeper. If they're truly your friend, you'll hear it in their voice. Because even sometimes when they say they're fine, it's the way they say, I'm fine. Well, that don't sound like you fine to me, friend. What's going on?
Yeah.
Just ask your friend out for a drink. Girl, I know you fine, but I'm not. Here, come on, let's go at Chili's. They got their special, or Applebee's, they got their little dollar margarita special. Take me out, honey. I'm not fine. Take me out. And you can look them in the eyeballs, because body language is 55% of our communication. So no matter what they're saying, their body's not going to lie.
Yes. I love that.
That is everything.
I love that. The eyes and the ears. I love it.
Got to listen with your eyes and your ears. Got to.
Yes.
I love it. I'm coming down to Texas so you can be my friend, okay?
I got you.
I'm coming down to Texas. But no, I mean, I definitely agree with all of that. I think, we get so into, how are you doing? Fine. How are you? Okay. And then on to the next, that we don't pause enough to think about how is somebody actually responding? Are we slowing down enough to see what the changes are? Even asking someone, so if your friend has said for 3 weeks, they're fine, and you're seeing, Nikki, you're saying, you're seeing, sis, you don't look fine. If you weren't fine, if there was another word you could use other than fine, what would you use, right? Because sometimes we just get programmed to say, I'm fine, I'm good. And meanwhile, we are not, right? We are a hot mess. And I think also, Nikki, I love what you said about well, take me out, because I'm not doing 1,000%, right? Because then that gives people permission to say, oh, well, you're the strong friend and you need some support. Well, then maybe I'm okay to tell you, I've been feeling a little depressed, or I've been feeling a little anxious. And sometimes we have to use the language for people. We have to ask people, well, are you feeling sad? Are you feeling depressed? Are you feeling anxious? Are you feeling frustrated? And, or if we're safe enough in those relationships, I think naming the behaviors, right? So you've been
Mm-hmm.
a little snappy, or you haven't really been involved in the group chat, or we always meet up for brunch and you canceled on me the last month. Like naming those behaviors so that it gives people space to talk about it. And then if they're
Mm-hmm.
not willing to talk about it, letting them know I'm still here when you're ready, and then taking the time and the risk to like follow up with them too.
Yes, I love that. I love calling out those behaviors because sometimes, people don't realize what they're doing. They don't
Mm-hmm.
even realize, that they've fallen into that space that could be leading them to a depressive state.
Yeah.
So I love being able to call out those behaviors. Um, another thing that I just wanted to kind of share, when it comes to the younger crowd, the younger ones, because sometimes children will come home and that's the first thing parents ask them. And I think about my little one when he gets in the car, the first thing I asked him was, "How was your day?" "Good." And
Mhm.
okay, what was good about your day? So kind
Mhm.
of what you were saying, Nikki, to kind of let's keep the conversation going. What was good
Yep.
about your day?
Yep.
And oh well, we got to do this and we got to do that. Okay, now we getting somewhere. So maybe
Mhm.
just having those open-ended statements rather
That's
than
exactly right. That's exactly right.
closed.
Those open-ended questions. And then like instead of how was your day, tell me about your day. Because now
Mm-hmm.
you have to say more than good, because that answer doesn't even work with that, response, right?
Yes.
So tell me about your day. You have to say something. And then
Mhm.
sometimes, as Dr. Christie said, kind of alluding to what I was saying, is leading with your own vulnerability and creating
Mhm.
that space and holding that space for the person. Like, well, I'm glad that you're good. Can I tell you what's going on with me? And
Mm-hmm.
then leading with your vulnerability, that lets sometimes people know that
Mhm.
it's okay and a safe place to open up. And
Mhm.
don't only just call your friend when you need to dump. Actually call
Mm.
when you have time and space to hold for them. So I'm actually calling to check on you, friend. Hey, friend, I'm calling to check in. No, 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 friend. You're not finna flip it. You're not finna direct it. I'm good. That we talked about last week, God handled it. Now it's your
Mhm.
turn. What's going on? Like, let them know that
Yep.
I'm genuinely holding space for you
Yes.
to
Yep.
talk.
Yep. That
Yes.
is so good. I
Good.
just want to, because that is so good. Because people who are like the strong friend,
Mhm.
like, because that has been me, like in the past. And I got so good at like scapegoating people, right? I'd be like, oh, no, I'm
Mhm.
good. How about you? And like, and flipping it,
Mhm.
but if at times, if people had said, no, let's pause, we're not going to flip this,
Mhm.
then I may have had a different response. But sometimes when you're used to just being that strong person, you just keep going, and you're like, no, people aren't going to necessarily create space
Mhm.
Mhm.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's an area we got to get away from. Even for, us as professionals,
Mhm.
and just understand that our mental health matters too. And
Yep.
that it is okay.
Absolutely.
It is okay. I mean, we have to, of course, find the right sources
Right.
to be
Mhm.
able to do that with, because we can't do that with everybody. So
Mm-hmm.
we
Yep.
have to be careful with who we're dumping on, but we got to have those outlets as well.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. What do you all think about, because I know support looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
It looks different for everybody. What are some supports, ways that people can support? We know we've talked about right now the what you just shared, Nikki, about hey, going out to eat, I'm not good. Like what are some ways that we can support during those tough times?
That's definitely a way to support me, taking me out to eat. I'm just gonna throw that out there to anybody who is listening and wants to help your girl out, honey. A good cheddar strip will do the trick, honey. Okay. Um, um
Not
but I
cheddars.
think obviously support looks different for different people. So this is where relationship comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Because what one person needs as support, the other person, it might trigger or repel them. or
Mm-hmm.
that's not the type of support that they need. So this is where relationship comes in. And if you don't know, this is where just being straight up and asking. I ask my friends all the time, how can I be there for you? Tell me how I can be there for you. Tell me how I can support you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the closer that relationship is, the closer the relationship equity is with that friendship, a lot of times I know without them having to say. A lot of times I know to just show up. A lot of times I know to DoorDash you something. A lot of times I know whatever that might look like,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of times I know. Or I'm just feeling it. I like to say I'll feel it in my shana now, right? I'll just feel something in my shana. Let me call her. I haven't heard from, like, patterns are off, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now let me check in. And as I'm talking, I can kind of hear, again, I'm listening to what's being said as well as what's not being said. So I'm hearing kind of
Mm-hmm.
what's needed. But again, that support is going to be based off of that person and the relationship with that person. Because I can just show up to my best friend's house, but I can't just show up to my coworker's house. That's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I work for myself now, so I guess it's not that weird. But but y'all get the point of what I'm saying, though.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. I think the key is showing up, even if it's, helping people get outside of their comfort zone. So
Mm-hmm.
let's try this new yoga class, or
Mhm.
let's go, practice the meditation, or
Mm-hmm.
let's, if they're into faith, like I haven't been to church in a while, let's go to church together. It's like
Yes.
figuring out what's important for them. I'm big on like body movement too, because we
Mm-hmm.
store so much energy in our body, like, and it could even be things that are just generational, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even being able to help people move, because not everybody, when you encounter them, is at a point where they're ready. They may need to go, but they may not be ready to go sit and talk with a therapist. They may not trust the system, that, all the things,
Mm-hmm.
all the stigmas.
Mhm.
But you might be willing to go out with Nikki to lunch, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
you might be willing to go to a yoga class, and after class we can stretch and talk about, like how we're feeling. It's finding those
I love
spaces
it.
to create safety that may not be traditional, but may be the gateway to get them into the mental health care or the
Mm-hmm.
medical care that they need. But I almost feel like we've been doing this for a while. We just haven't necessarily called it therapeutic. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you all, but I get together with my girlfriends and it's like, y'all, it's been a long week. Can we just meet me at wherever, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Or
Thanks.
Sunday brunch or game
Mhm.
night. And so it's about how do we do that in like these ways that are healthy, that are fueling us, not taking away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, I agree with you that we have been doing this for a long time. And even,
Mhm.
in different cultures, even with the soul food Sundays,
Yes.
Come on.
like we,
Come on.
yeah, we do that, and
Mhm.
that's just, we don't look at it as being therapeutic, but like those are traditional things that a lot of families do and have Sunday dinner with the
Mm-hmm.
family. And that is very therapeutic. I know growing up, my family did dinner on Fridays. Like we would all get together and go to dinner on Fridays, and then we'd have the Soul Food Sunday with all of the family on Sunday. So it would be Friday and Sunday. Like those were the days where we would actually get together and connect. And being an adult, like you said, now you're able to do it with your friends as well. So
Yep.
that's good. That's definitely good. And so, what do you all think about when it comes to, because we know that everything starts in our mind, and being able to just have a whole mindset shift? Like, what are some things that you think that may be helpful, or some tools to help someone that's needing to shift their mindset and have healthier options, or and even some ways that may have worked for you?
So I definitely think we store so much here and here, like head and
Mm-hmm.
heart. And so I always think about like a balloon or a pressure cooker. Like, how can I get all of these things out so they're not just sitting,
Mm-hmm.
inside my body and inside my mind? So any form of like externalization can be helpful. For some of us, it's journaling. For some of us, it's art. For some of us, it's singing because that's activating like what we call the vagus nerve. And so it allows anxiety to kind of come down a little bit. And so it's anything that doesn't allow things to just manifest without any kind of relief. So that's why I love like movement can be so helpful with that. Talking, even this, right? Like being able to talk and be in community with other people is a form of relief. Even if it's like, hey, y'all, it's storming out here and I don't know, it's getting kind of, bad, right? It's a way I don't have to carry that. I can like release that to another person. And so those are just some of the things that I think can be helpful. The other thing, like, I don't know if you all feel like this, but what we know, like with kids, like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, imagine them being like on a playground. If you just go to a playground or a park and watch kids, typically they're having a great time, right? But as we get older and into adulthood, we lose the art of play, right? Like, and so some of it is like, how do I change my mindset? It's getting back to like that natural joy, right? It's also changing what society, what social media has kind of put on us. It's like this reclamation process, even with affirmations of saying, well, who am I, right? Because it's my birthright for myself to be a Black woman who deserves to be healthy, who deserves to be well, who deserves to be around other amazing and safe humans. And so being able to pour that back into ourselves, even the messages that some of our families may have given us, right? Like we may be holding messages that mom and grandma and dad and grandpa gave us, that we may be the lineage breaker and have to shift those messages. Because if someone told me, Black people don't go to therapy, they only go to church. Well, guess what? Now I'm an adult and I feel like I may have clinical depression and I'm praying and I need to see a therapist, but the message that I've received is that that's not okay. So in terms of that mental shift, I think being able to find healthy ways to release some of that, but then also being able to look at the messages that we've received over time, writing those down, and then changing that narrative if it needs to be changed for ourselves.
Yes. And I definitely think that needs to change. You can go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I definitely think that narrative needs to be changed because that is the stigma that's connected to that when it comes to the whole spiritual church and mental health. Like they don't go together. So that's where we are advocating and fighting now to let people know that therapy is okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. It's just I'm gonna say it for y'all. It's lies from the pit of hell. I'll say it because it's what it is. And I'll say publicly, I have a therapist, I have a coach, and my Bible right here is about 3 of them sitting right here. Matter of fact, this computer is on one of them. So, so me, I'm rocking out hard with the Lord. You know what I mean? And he has intentionally placed people here with the gifting to be able to walk us through some of these things. And right now, today, is and connect it back to him on how to do it. So therapy is huge. Also, in addition to getting it up and out, because for me, it gets really loud in here at times. It gets really, really loud. So I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I have turned into a journaler. I was not, okay, because I don't like
for you.
Yeah, whatever. I don't like to write. I'm still not fully claiming it, but it does do something because just what you said, Dr. Christie, it gets it up and out of my head and even out of my body. Like I literally feel lighter. And when I journal, I'm literally writing a letter to the Lord. It is my Dear John to the Lord letter. So every morning it starts off with Dear Lord, Dear Jesus. Sometimes it's like, good morning, Lord, depending on what I'm feeling. I think this morning it was, well, Lord, I'm back. Just whatever. And I just write it out to him. Whatever I'm feeling. And I just literally lay it at his feet. Because if we want to tie those together, it says, cast your cares upon me for I care.
Come on now.
I literally cast my cares on him. That's my way to do it. And remove it from me. Because a lot of times what happens is because it's up here and we're holding on to it, we haven't cast it at his feet. So we're still holding on to something that we shouldn't be holding on to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. So I get it. I do my best to get it up and out of my body through journaling. I'm also intentional talking about mood shifting to do something that's actually going to shift my mood. I think Dr. Christie gave some good things with about play. And I already told y'all, take me to Cheddar's, my mood automatically going to shift. Okay. But also sometimes I don't have time or even finances or whatever to go to Cheddar. So what can I do in the here and now to shift my mood?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love to laugh. And guess what? YouTube is free, even though I do have the paid subscription, right? So, but I can go to YouTube. Ali Sadiq put up all kind of stuff that is hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
There's other comedians out there. I won't name them all because I don't know them all, but whoever is funny to you, I will intentionally play something that I know is funny, whether I've seen it once or haven't seen it at all, but it's funny. And that literally starts to shift my mind. And even if it's just for that moment, now I'm laughing, now I'm feeling a little better. Now for that moment, it's shifted, and hopefully that will continue on. So that's just something I do. I try to be intentional about, okay, I'm feeling this way. I let myself have a moment, and then I try to begin to shift my mindset because I don't want to sink too far into it. Like, I don't want to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel it, but I want to stay there. So I begin to move in it. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's
it
so
makes
good.
a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. And that kind of reminds me of that whole thought process. I call it the cognitive behavioral triangle, where you have a thought that then connects to a feeling, an emotion, and
Mm-hmm.
then it goes on into an action or behavior. And so
Mm-hmm.
just being able to connect that triangle together with those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, like it can make a significant difference in
Absolutely.
how you move, from whatever thought that you're having in that moment. So, yes, I love that. Um, and so, when it comes to, I'm glad that we're sharing about this right now because I wanted to get into like just being able to make sure that people have the right tools on board.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to working through their stressors. I mean, because we know that daily right now we got all kind of stressors that are happening in, our day-to-day lives, our government, our health and
Mm-hmm.
just wellness, just everything. There's so many finances, so many different stressors that we are dealing with in this society today. And so just being able to to help people, like what type of stressors do you all feel um well, not the stressors, but the the actual tools that people can use that may be helpful for them, to be able to move forward when they're dealing with stressors, life stressors.
Well, I mean, I'm a big proponent of, I think therapy is important, even and not when you're necessarily just in crisis mode. I think that's helpful. I think coaches, there's those spaces can definitely be helpful. But I also, like Nikki was saying, it shouldn't have to cost, right? Like I'm a traveler and I would love to get on a plane tomorrow, but I can't get on a plane.
Say that, sis.
So it's like, well, what am I going to do? And if you think about it, a lot of people will say, oh, self-care, I just need to travel, or I just need to get a massage. And it's like, but that's predicated off of either saving or just having it like that and just being able to do those things.
Correct.
So some of those tools are, how do I care for myself, but not care for myself just in crisis? How do I build a realistic and sustainable plan that I can do every day? So that might be, as opposed to if you work from home or if you work in the office, that might be, I need to take a break every hour for 5 minutes from my computer and I might need to walk outside. That might mean I have to make sure once a month that I fit it in my calendar to connect with my safe relationships. That might mean I need to align my values, right? So if I say, oh, I really want to, enhance my physical health and wellness, but every day I'm eating 4 cheeseburgers, well, my values are out of alignment, right? If I say I want to expand my faith and spirituality, but I'm not engaging in any of those practices, then it's out of alignment. So I often like to share with people to write down, and our values change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like writing down what is important to me, not what was important to my family or my partner or my spouse or my friends. What is important to me, right? And doing that inventory and then listing out what are the actions that actually align with that. And then starting small, right? Like some of us can be overachievers, right? I'm working on that. And so it's like, well, guess what? Like, you don't have to run the marathon. You could just like walk around the block. You know, like maybe the marathon is next year's goal, but maybe right now, like I just need to get the gym membership, or maybe right now I just need to make one phone call a week to a friend as opposed to 25. So it's like, you know, as opposed to joining 12 ministries at church, maybe I just need to join 2. And so it's like, how can I make small steps to get there and then find ways to celebrate ourselves and find accountability partners, right? Like right now, accountability partners are it. Right now, I'm in this physical wellness space right now. And so my friends are like, y'all, we got to check in. And so we do. We check in on Marco Polo. So on the days when I'm like, it's raining and I really just want to go lay on the couch, they're like, remember your values, Christy. Yep, you're right. And then that helps fuel me. And then I'm in community. So I think identifying your values, identifying what aligns with your values, and then continuing to go back to that, because your values allow you to care for yourself. And we really cannot care for anyone else well unless we intentionally take space to care for ourselves on a consistent basis, not just when we're falling apart.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
And were you about to share, Nikki?
Well, I just said that's good, and really ditto. And if I can share just one thing, what I'll say is, I think I hear a common theme that we haven't explicitly said, and that's community. So I heard it said on a podcast. I can't remember which one right now. I think it was with Tim Ross, but when I find it, I'll acknowledge it. But basically it says, the way to actually grow, we grow in community. We become stagnant or even decline in isolation. So if we really want to grow, we have to be in community, and whatever that community is for you, a healthy, let me put this word on here, healthy community. Okay. So whether that's with our friends, whether that's with our family, whether that's with our church group, whether that's a mixture of it all, we need a healthy community that we can lean on. And there's different communities at different levels. I won't get into that, but you definitely need what I like to call that inner circle, to where these are the people to where you can call on them, text middle of the day, whatever. They might not get answer right then, but you know that you're going to get a call back. You know that you're going to get a text back. You're probably already voice noting them throughout the day and stuff anyway, right? And you're like, girl, let me tell you this, whatever. And that's your community. These are the people who are checking you too. They're not just girl on you all the time, like, yeah, sis, They're also saying, nah, sis. Nah, sis, that ain't it. That right there ain't it. Right? Because community is literally going to do just, again, I've heard us bring up faith a few times. It's going to be that iron sharpening iron. So this is to where, yes, you might pour out, but you know that you're finna get poured back into. Right? Y'all are sharpening each other. Y'all are uplifting each other. And that is to me, I have found one of the biggest and greatest ways to grow exponentially. Grow spiritually, grow mentally, all the things, and physically. Like Dr. Chris said, her accountability group is also within the health and wellness too. Right? We like to say accountability when it comes to health-wise as far as going to the gym, but you need accountability for life.
Yes.
So I think that's one of the things as well. So community, I think having community, and if you don't have community, or you say you're not a people person, that's the mind shift that actually needs to change. I'm just being real. I'm be real, because you're not going to get as far as you could if you're doing it by yourself. I'm not saying you're not going to get anywhere. That's not what I'm saying. You're a fully capable, amazing, intelligent person, but you're not going to get as far as you could by yourself. Community is where it's at. Healthy community. And it don't take that many. 2 to 3 tops. 2 to 3 tops. When Jesus went up to that mountain, he took Peter, James, John. That's it. That's it. When he had to go pray because he was finna go up there, that he only took those 3. He didn't take all 12. You don't need that many. You don't need that many, but you need a solid 2 to 3 to where they're sharpening you and you're sharpening them, because you don't just want to be a taker either, because you part of community is being together. So that's it. I don't want to go on a rant about that, but I just
no, that was good.
Wow, that's good.
That was so good.
Yeah, that was very good. And thank you for sharing that and bringing that emphasis on community, because community is so important. And that's just going to lead us right on into just the whole thought of how can we make this conversation that we're having right now normal and remove the stigma from even being able to have the conversation. Because in order to be a part of community, there has to be a community that is willing to have this conversation. And so what are some, I guess, just some things that we can do to help make this conversation less uncomfortable?
I'll go, and then I'll let, again, Dr. Christy clean up whatever mess I make. I feel like this one I might actually make a mess, so I'll try to keep it short.
I doubt it.
Short and sweet. All right, pull that mop out. Here we go. So I think first you have to normalize it within yourself. You got to normalize it within yourself. I think there's so many things to where we have this, that's just who I am. It is what it is mentality about everything except the things that matter. So once you become truly okay with it, that's the thing that you stand flat-footed on and say, hey, it is what it is, to where you can be on a live stream and say, yeah, I got a therapist. Yeah, I got a coach. Truly okay with it. That's the thing that you stand. Come at me, bro. Like what? Because I do. And it's making me a better person. And I have community, right, as well, who is helping me and stuff like that. So once it became normal for me, it was normalized for me, then because at that point it became ingrained in me, and what's in you begins to come out of you. What's in the heart comes out of the mouth. So because it became ingrained in me, I just found myself talking about it, which again opened it up for other people to talk about it. And then that opened up community, because those who was with it rolled with it, and those who weren't bounced. And I had to be okay with that too.
Yes.
So I think first normalizing it for yourself, and then once you truly become good and comfortable with that, then it will start to become a part of just your normal conversation, just how you speak in your speech, and then that'll help normalize it for others.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. And I definitely agree with the whole normalizing piece. But I just thought that was like, because everybody is not all about mental health. Especially when we start digging into that older generation, we go all the way back to what goes on in this house stays in this house. And that's like a stigma that's been created in a lot of households. And so when you start talking about going into creating a community and talking about your business, your mental health, and things that are going on in your life, that can be uncomfortable if that's not the norm.
Right.
So normalizing, I love it. Right.
No cleanup needed. Thank you, sis. That was amazing. Let me also say that. Let me start with that. Okay. Yeah, just to kind of add to what Nikki is saying, I think, those cross-generational conversations are key. I hear, even working with college students, I hear a lot. It's like, when my family doesn't think, my mom or grandparents don't believe that mental health is okay, and like wrestling with that. But sometimes someone has to be the first person to stand up, even to someone who's from an older generation than you, to change that cycle. So I think the first piece is education,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is education and helping us realize again what our birthright is, right? People died literally so we could be free. But if we're keeping ourselves in bondage, then did they die in vain?
Yeah.
And if we have the tools and we have the access. So I think education, awareness, like what Nikki was saying, and then I think bringing mental health into spaces where people are seeking healing. So when I think about churches or faith-based organizations, oftentimes some people have grown up in churches their whole lives, but a lot of times people come there seeking healing and refuge and relief. So doesn't it make sense for churches to partner with mental health organizations to kind of normalize that? There's more movement with like barbers and like hairstylists, right? Doing trainings. When I go to my hairdresser, I'm like, girl, let me tell you what happened this week or last week, right? Or even bars, right? Because when people go to the bar and they sit there for hours, a lot of times they're telling and spilling their business and information and things may not be going so well. So I think those different spaces that may be non-traditional, we also need to equip those persons to talk about and bring up conversations around mental health so it can really be normalized and it doesn't have to just be go over there to those coaches and counseling people and they'll do their thing in private. We get to normalize it by people being able to go everywhere and it's showing up.
Yes. And I know I have to apologize to my loctician. I'm like, I'm sorry. I know every time I come.
Thanks.
But you know I'm gonna be here about 4 hours. So I'm gonna go and apologize before we get started.
Come on now. Our beauticians and our barbers was those our first therapists.
Yes.
Right.
It's amazing. And there is an organization that has actually started that. And they actually training the barbers and the beauticians to be able to have those type of conversations and doing it from a professional standpoint.
That's amazing.
So that is awesome.
Yeah.
So
can I add one more piece? The other thing is, I think and I'm just thinking about this with my mom hat on. It's like finding ways, like we were talking about earlier, to talk with kids about their emotions at young ages, right? Like helping them to like name their feelings and how do they start the process of, even relaxing their bodies at a young age. My daughter, we put her in this like yoga class. She's 3. She came in and, doing all the little moves. And I was like, you better go, girl. And at some point, she's 3, but she's going to be 33 and 83. And along the way, that might help her, or show her friend how to like calm their body. And so I think even teaching kids, our babies, how to acknowledge their emotions so they don't grow up using avoidance as like their strategy for navigating life.
Yeah, that's good.
Agreed.
That's good. And I love the body movements. Dr. Norwood, ever since we went to the Can We Talk Symposium and they had all of the body work. I know there's one where you just wiggle your whole body and get that blood flowing. And so when I'm speaking and doing different engagements, like I make everybody get up and I'm like, okay, we got to get this oxygen flowing and get this blood flowing. So definitely being able to do stuff like that, it helps. It definitely helps with getting that oxygen moving. So move your body. Move your body.
Even get your fan. Where them fans at? Like however you need to do it.
Come on.
All right. So what is one small action, just one, that somebody can do today if they're feeling stuck? Because a lot of people are watching this. They hear everything that we're saying, but they are stuck and don't know which way to go or how to move so that they can seek the help or do what needs to be done to get out of the situation that they're in right now.
Yeah. So I think the first thing I would say is to congratulate yourself that you want to be unstuck and
Mhm.
use that part of yourself that doesn't want to stay where you are to move forward, to get the motivation. The second piece would be find someone that you trust enough to talk to about the ways that you feel stuck. If you don't have anyone in your life, I think all three of us would be happy to be a resource for anyone to help you get connected with someone that can help you get unstuck. And then I think the third thing I would say is that know that you're not the only one who has been there. Right. And know that I'll speak for myself. I have felt stuck at times, even as a clinician, and I've had to use community and use other people to help me move forward. So I think just knowing that you're not alone, congratulating yourself and committing to not staying there. So whether that's reaching out for help, whether that's seeking therapy, whether that's writing down what you need and sharing it with someone, knowing that if no one else, you have three people that are willing to help you move towards getting unstuck.
Yes.
That is really good. You came up with three things. She said one, and I'm like, okay, which one am I supposed to say? Um, so let me see. And I, you said the word unstuck, and I have a friend, Dr. Shalonda, and she's actually the unstuck strategist. So now I'm like, dang, I would have known, I would have told her to send me something, but that's okay. So, because literally that's what she does is help people get unstuck. But I'll say this: the two things that are coming to mind is I'm gonna go off of one of the last things that Dr. Christie said, which is you're not the only one, and the enemy is lying to you about it. He is lying to you, and he's been lying to you for a long time. He's been telling you that it's just you, that you're weird, nobody's going to believe you, that it's strange if you do say something, all these things are going to happen. And I am telling you that is a lie. That is a lie from the pit of hell. There are people who love you and who actually desire to help you and support you. And if you really think about it, they've probably been asking, how can they do that? They've been asking you, how can I be there for you? They've been asking you, how can I help? They've been asking what you need. But because of the lies, you've been remaining silent. So first, let's recognize the lie. And then two, I'll be an overachiever as well. Two, I would say speak out, but I know that's uncomfortable because it's so easy to say, to just reach out to somebody. So me and my friends, we have a few of my friends, we have code words, right? So because sometimes I can't say the quiet thing loud. It's just too much. So I will just send a code word. And when I send that code word, sometimes that means to pray. Sometimes that means to call. Sometimes it's like I have a code word that I give to people, and sometimes they just need a mental distraction, especially in time of grief and hurting. Sometimes you just don't want to think about it anymore, so you just need a mental distraction. So I have a code word for that. So sometimes maybe you can't say the quiet thing loud, but you can text this code word. So that's gonna still take a conversation with your friends to say, hey, sometimes I might need this or that, but if I text you this, this is what I need. And send that in the text so you don't have to say it. Hey, if I text you this, that means I need you to pray. If I text you this, that means I need you to call me. If I text you this, no, nothing's wrong right now, but I want to do better about reaching out. So I'm telling you what it is. So maybe create a code word so you don't have to say the quiet thing loud. You can just say one thing and you can see how they show up for you. And give them the opportunity to show up for you. You have to give people the opportunity to show up for you. They want to, they desire to. Maybe not everybody, but I'm sure there are at least 3 people to 5 people in your life who want to. Give them the opportunity.
Yes. I love that. I love that code word. I do that with my couples as well. So I think that those code words are awesome because it creates not only a bond, a further bond in that relationship, but it's so distinct, that only we know what we're talking about in there.
Correct.
So, and it allows you to be vulnerable as well. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Nikki.
Yeah.
All right. And so before we get ready to get off of here today, I wanted to, because I see we do have some viewers, and I wanted to see if anyone had any questions. I did drop it in the chat for anybody to drop any questions. I don't see any at this moment. So if you are watching and if you have any questions for our panelists, please go ahead and drop those now. And while we are waiting on that, I will go ahead and let each of you share, and I'll go ahead and place it on the screen as well. Any upcoming events that you have, and also where the viewers can find you as well. And so I'll put your information up as well.
Well, I have a STEAM camp, I have a STEAM camp for girls called Dreamer Camp that's happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It's actually going to take place in Richardson, Texas. It's for girls 11 to 15. It's a 2-week day camp, June 9th through the 20th. And I love it because it is STEAM, but in unconventional ways. We like to do immersive field trips and activities to where they can see what STEAM looks like in real life. And for those who don't know what STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. As an educator, one of the main things I would hear is, Miss, how I'm going to use this in real life? So as a program director of a camp, I get to show them this is what it actually looks like in real life. This is what it looks like to utilize these things in real life. So we're going beyond just doing kind of fun, sciencey projects, but you get to see science in action. You get to see technology in action, and so on and so forth. And we include the arts. So we are STEAM and not STEM, because we'll do arts. We've done a culinary class with girls. I think we got a dance class coming up this time. Oops, I probably wasn't supposed to say that, but we got dance class coming up. So, so it's just really, really fun, and we have a good time. We do little giveaways. It's just fun. So if you have a girl that is age 11 to 15, please contact me. It's called Dreamer Camp. That's Dream, HER, Dream Her Camp. And we would love to have your girl. Right now, I think we're running a special. So if you hit me up, I can get you that special code.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I remember your last camp that you had. Was that during spring break?
We did have a spring camp, yeah. So we launched our first spring camp, and now this is summer, and then we'll be working on spring again. But yes, ma'am, we did have a spring camp, and it was a week. So spring is a week, and summer is 2 weeks.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for sharing that, Miss Nikki. Dr. Norwood, you're up next.
Yeah, so Remind You Wellness and Outreach is really just designed to help people remember to keep mental health in the discussion. That's the R and the E. And the MIND is mental health in the discussion. And so we are coming down off of our big event, which was the Exhale Summit, but it's our yearly mental health summit particularly geared towards female identifying individuals in Virginia. So the next one will be March 13th through the 15th next year. So there's plenty of time to get your tickets. Y'all can come from Texas, but it's really something that God has given me. And I have a team of women along with my husband who have just rallied around this. And this year we had maybe about 200-ish women that came from all over, as far as Colorado. Someone did come from Texas, just to be in community for the weekend. And we are real, we are vulnerable, we have fun. And so I'm looking forward to that next March. I know how life is, so we try to tell people ahead of time that's coming March 13th through the 15th next year. And then in July, we'll also be doing kind of a mini Exhale Summit at the end of the month as well. So those are some things we have going on the docket. You can find me on social media, on Instagram at Dr. Christy Norwood. I try to just post inspirational information to just keep us uplifted. So that's a little bit about me. And I do see a question here. When you're ready for that. I'm not sure if
Okay.
I see it on my end.
You see it on your end? Okay. I do not see it on my end, so I
Okay.
will let you go ahead and share
Okay.
what you see.
So, yeah, someone says feels like Black women are under attack with DEI, Diddy, Kamala. And this person says, as a middle aged woman, it feels like an epic fail of her generation. How do we, I guess, kind of keep it in perspective? You know, how do we stay balanced with everything that's going on?
Wow. And so would one of you like to answer that?
I can start, and then I'm gonna let Nikki clean up for me. That's what we're gonna do.
I'm not qualified.
I really think I think it's a great question, first of all, because there is just a lot happening, and I think it's so important for us. Sometimes we have to turn off the outside world. We may have to limit how much we're watching the news, but then I also think it's so important to have real spaces where you can talk about that, right? And then you can get the validation. Because again, holding that is not healthy for us, right? It raises our blood pressure. We can't sleep, right? We're not eating well. And so I think being able to have those spaces, tempering, I know even like for myself, I have to temper with social media, I have to temper with the news, like how much do I want to stay informed about anything, right? While also what's going to be healthy for my mind and body, right? And then finding some activities that aren't about that too is helpful. So that way you're acknowledging it, you're tempering how much you're getting in, but then you're also engaged in other activities. So you're not just, we can get so consumed with just the things that are happening that are an attack that we can lose sight of ourselves. So also I think when we think about mental health action, it's like, what can I do to, in a lot of ways, like resist some of these messages or some of the information that may be trying to attach itself to me. And some of that is taking action tomorrow on Mental Health Action Day, right? It's like resting. Rest is a form of resistance, right? It's how can I get together with a community of folks and be able to have some kind of socio-political action or just mental health action. Wellness is resistance against all of that. So those are just some suggestions, but I do want to honor the reality of how hard it is for many of us right now.
Yes. Thank you. And I just want to highlight that in the midst of doing all of that, you know, with trying to really set boundaries and limits around, you know, what you're taking in from the media and all of those places, like it's so important to be able to create, and I just say create a boundary, you know, within yourself. Like we have to be able to set healthy boundaries in our own relationship within ourselves to be able to do that, because you have to know your limits, like Dr. Norwood said. So I think that that is so important to be able to create that, because we always want to set boundaries with everybody else. But when it comes to us being able to set boundaries within our relationship within ourselves, like that gets it gets confusing for some people. So I definitely think that, yeah, I love that. And we got another question that has come in. It says from Cherry, how can you tell those who want to support you that you just want to be left alone without being rude? There's nothing wrong, but I thrive in solitude most times.
So I think that comes with being honest in love, and also, let me see, how can I support that you want to be left alone without being rude? Yeah, I think just being honest in love, the fact acknowledge that they want to support you and that you appreciate that, and then tell them how they can. That includes your solitude. So if your solitude is like you genuinely want to be left alone, um, and but you don't mind a text. Hey, right now, I'm not taking visitors, but if you want to text me, I'll text you back and I'll reach
Mm-hmm.
out this time. I heard one time I was at something recently and somebody said something about having office hours. I don't know if you want to create office hours or how you would say that, but you could say something like that, like, hey, you know, I'm available to talk from this time to this time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, sometimes it's about just being real. Sometimes I pray about how do I communicate this to these people because
Mm-hmm.
what I hear you saying is that you have a support group who want to be there. Um, you are just needing to communicate to them what you need and want. So just tell them how to support you and what that looks like for you, and then pray about how to communicate that. But tell them, hey, if you want to support me, this is what it looks like, and make sure it includes your solitude, and really think and pray of what that looks like. And also be careful in the solitude that it's not isolation.
Yes.
Be careful
Yes.
that your solitude, because it's very easy to go, because there's nothing wrong with solitude. I want to say that very clearly. There's nothing wrong with solitude. There's nothing wrong with taking moments to yourself. We all need those moments. um but solitude can very easily slip into isolation if we're not careful. So I do want to make sure to say that, to be careful about that. But other than that, yeah, just pray about how to communicate that and really think about what that looks like for them to support you within your solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And
That's
that just goes back to setting those boundaries, setting those healthy boundaries, and creating that
Mhm.
community that you need.
yeah.
Mhm.
It
Wow.
also makes me think about how we like to communicate. So, like Nikki, you were saying earlier, like a voice note. I'm a voice note queen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
Marco Polo, because it gives me my life is just I'm often doing many things, and mom, working, all the things, and so it gives me the luxury to be able to communicate in the way that I need to when I need to. And when I started doing
That's good.
therapy full time, I didn't have the capacity. I used to be able to have 2-hour conversations with folks and we would just be on the phone. I don't have that capacity because I'm giving out so much, but
Yep.
I can send a Marco Polo. I can
Mm-hmm.
send a voice note. I'm a
Mhm.
big texter. And then when I do have the capacity to have phone calls, I can kind of reserve that. And so I
Mhm.
think some of it's also figuring out how do I like to communicate, because do the people in my life, are they just wanting phone calls? Are they just wanting long email updates? Like
Right. That's
figuring
good.
out what really fits for me. And then
Mm-hmm.
it might be not cutting off the communication, but it might be shifting how
Mhm.
you all do communicate.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
voice note is really good too. I like that you said that because what it does is it adds in that extra element of communication, because now I can hear your tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier I referenced the 73855 rule, right? So if it's a voice note, at least I have the 7 and the 38, which makes 45%. So I'm almost at half of the
Mm-hmm.
communication that I need from you. So I can't see you, but I can hear your voice. I can hear
Yeah.
that you're okay. I can hear that
Mm-hmm.
you're in a decent mood. I can hear that. So now that gives me, as somebody who wants to support you, a little bit more calm to know, okay, she's good. She's just chilling and she needs a
Mm-hmm.
moment. Right. So that voice note is really, really good because it's you still reaching out, letting them know that you're okay, and they're being able to not just read it, which
Mm-hmm.
remember, our words, whether they're written or verbal, is only 7% of our communication.
Mm.
7%. So if you're
Yeah.
only writing it, they're missing a lot of it, which is probably why they're going into panic, because they're hearing it
Mm-hmm.
in their concern. They're not hearing it in the actuality of what you're feeling.
Yes.
Because if I remember the question right, I can't see it now, but it said like, "I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to be a moment to myself."
Yes.
So when I send that voice note to say, "Hey y'all, I'm good, all is well, I'll call you tomorrow," whatever, whatever the voice note is, I
Mm-hmm.
can hear that in your voice, and now I can back off. And
Yeah.
now I'm not making up my own tone. I hear your tone to know that you're
Mm-hmm.
good.
That's
So that
good.
voice note is really good.
Yes. That's good. And for those of you that don't know about Marco Polo, Marco Polo
Mhm.
is the bomb. It's an app, guys. and you can download it on your phone. And so for those solitude moments, like I think that app will work perfect because you get to respond when you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
They can share what they need to share. It's almost like FaceTime, but not like instant. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
instant, but like you can respond when you get ready to respond.
Mhm.
It's
And
like a
so
voice note with your face.
yes, with this, it has your face. And so definitely being able to use something like that, where you're not feeling obligated, or
Right.
pressure to respond back.
Right.
I think that, having an app like that may work
Mm-hmm.
as well. And so I do not see any more questions. Do y'all see any more questions?
I do see, let me see.
I don't
I think I
see
see
on my
one
end.
more.
Thank you, Dr. Angie. She said, excellent video, ladies. Dr. Angie, she is an expert on anxiety.
Oh,
So if you all are having or need, I believe Dr. Angie is in Michigan. So if you all are in need of an anxiety expert, make sure y'all reach out to her. She's in the chat.
okay. Hey, Dr. Angie, and thank you for the compliment.
Yeah.
Yes. I see one more question on my end.
Okay.
Okay.
The question reads, the mental health of individuals in the federal sector is strained due to the loss of jobs or the fear of will I be impacted? So how can support be given to those experiencing this challenge, and what advice can be given to them? Yeah.
I think that in that particular situation, because it's like the fear of the unknown,
Mm-hmm.
of just not knowing what's to come, and just looking at the world and everything that we are experiencing right now. Like, we really don't know from one day to the next what's about to happen, because we see laws popping up here, over there. I know one organization that I'm a part of, DEI is it's like we can't even call it DEI anymore. So changes are coming. And so I think just being able to adapt to change is going to be the most important thing. Now, it doesn't always mean you got to agree with it, but just knowing, what that's going to look like for you in that particular situation. And I don't know if I answered that question or not, but my brain went somewhere else.
Do you mind reading the question again, Dr. Christie? Do you mind reading it again?
Yeah, so the mental health of individuals in the federal sector is strained due to the loss of jobs or the fear, people fearing, will I be impacted in the future? So how can support be given to those who are experiencing this kind of challenge, and what advice can be given to them?
So they're fearful, they either have lost or fearful of losing their job, and just kind of the strain that's on working in the federal government industry right now. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Man, fear is so crazy, because that's the main thing that
Yeah.
I'm hearing in that question is fear.
That's what I'm hearing too.
Right.
And I'm hearing community.
Yeah. The main thing I'm hearing that question is fear. And it's a real fear. It's not something that's made up in your head. It's not something that you're just pulling out the sky or whatever. This is a real fear that's staring you in the face day in, day out. And that type of fear can begin to create trauma as well. So for that, what I would suggest is reaching out to a mental health professional to help you process and work through it. B, again, tapping into your community, but also C, really, okay, let me back up. You're right, Lord. If you're a person of faith, this is where it comes in. We can't know God as a provider unless we need him to provide. We can't know him as a healer unless we need healing, right? So tapping into that and reaching out to a mental health professional to help you process that in real time, and your community, but also making a plan. If this is something that you are fearful of or have lost, begin making a plan. Sometimes being active and doing something about it helps to reduce that fear. right? So you have somebody, you have the Lord who is helping you spiritually, have mental health professional who's helping you mentally, and then you have your community who's helping you, just uplift you and stuff like that. But then also you have something actionable that you're doing, so you don't feel like you're just waiting for doom to drop, right? For what's it called? What's it called for the thing to drop? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You ain't waiting for it to happen to you. Okay, you ain't waiting to get bopped upside the head. Is what I'm trying to say. You're being active.
Proactive.
You're being proactive in
Yes.
multiple ways. And if you have unfortunately already lost your job, you can still be actionable in doing things, and not just as far as filling out applications and resumes and things like that, but active in making a plan, because this might be an opportunity for a shift in a direction that you want to go. Or maybe another direction you want to go. Maybe you're like, I did want to be there, but maybe there's something else that you've been wanting to pursue. So this might actually present as an opportunity too. So that's where that spiritual shift and that mental health shift with the professional processing would help too. So that would be my advice. I hope that was helpful in some kind of way, but that would be my answer to that. Dr. Christy, please clean that up.
No, I think you
I think you did good.
What you talked about, yes, I see someone that says, I love that. So you are right on track, Nikki.
Okay, good.
I would just add, I think it's important to identify where the fear is coming from. And to your point, these are realities, right? Because people are losing jobs, and then there's the fear of losing jobs. And sometimes we live in the future. So I think in this situation, it is helpful to have a practical plan. And in terms of regulating like mental health, it's what do I do to stay in the present? Recognizing that the present is can be stressful as well, but what can I do to stay in the present? And what can I notice? I like to use like mindfulness interventions, because sometimes fear is based on what could happen in the future, and it may not happen in the future. So we may miss some of the things that have the potential to give us joy. So acknowledging, what do I have in the present that actually is a gift? The circumstance may not be what I want it to be. It may not be what I deserve to have happen to me or my family. But today, what can I acknowledge? Okay, I have a house. I'm recognizing that I was able to get to work safely. Like those pieces actually psychologically help us show up better. So we're not only living through the lens of fear, but like we can balance that fear with like joy. We can balance that fear with other things that allow us to bring gratitude to ourselves. And so when we only are living in that fear, I'm not saying avoid it, but when we're only living in that fear, then that's when the anxiety raises, the depression raises. And so we've got to find healthy strategies, again, movement, talking to other people, community, to be able to regulate our nervous system, but also to be able to practice what is it that I'm grateful for in the midst of the chaos?
Yes.
Right? How do I learn to still dance in the rain?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I love that. And one of the biggest things that I'll share is use what you have in your hands. And that's just sitting down and writing out, what is it that you have in your hand? What resources do you have? What access do you have over here, over there? What people, the community, and just being able to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because we have so much more than what we think we have.
It's so much more. And
So
we're connected to so many more people than we think we're connected to. If you're anything like me, you love your people, and that's just who they are. They're your friends, they're your family. You don't think about them in the terms of what they do or their profession. They're just your bestie, or you're my sissy, or just, whatever it is. But if you stop just for a moment and think about, who am I actually connected to? I know Christy. Wait, it's not just Christy, it's Dr. Christy. She's a doctor of what? Oh, that's right. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if you just stop and think about who's in your actual network, like of the people you talk to, because you actually know more people and are connected to more people than you think. But because most of us have a heart of, these are just my people, which is good, we forget about the people that we're connected to. So if you take a moment to what Dr. Owens saying, and then just think about what is in your hands. Who are you actually connected to? What do you have? Reminds me of that story in the Bible to where the lady was like, I'm about to have to sell my kids into slavery because this it, I'm out. And he said, and Elijah said, well, what's in your house? She said, I only got a little bit of oil. And he said, well, go get it and to get everybody around you. Come on, somebody, go to all the people around you, get their pots too. Who are you connected to? And those people, what did they do? They didn't say, "No, girl, this is my pot. Go get your pot. Where's your pot? This is my pot." They know. They gave it to her. They gave her the pot, and the oil kept flowing until the last pot was full. So you have people that you're connected to who are can and will support you. You have things in your house that will keep flowing if you just begin to tap into it. So what's in your hands is just so good. So what's in your hands and who are you actually connected to? People that you can actually text. You can text these people. I can text Shakita and say, hey, Shakita, I got this person now, or I need help with this. I can text her. She's in my network. Who's in your network?
So good.
That's good.
So good.
And what's in your hands came from, and this is something that I heard Miss Taraji P. Henson share. She shared that story about using what's in your hands.
That's it.
And she gave the story. It was biblical about Moses parting the sea and what he had in his hand.
That's a good one too.
Back, and she shared about David, what he had in his hand when he took down Goliath, a pebble.
Yeah.
And so that's where she brought all of that together to talk about what is it that you have in your hand, because it's so much more powerful than what we think if we just sit back. Like Nikki just shared, like it is so much powerful when we really look at what we have in our hands. And so sometimes, and I'm gonna go back to when you're feeling stuck, this is how we get unstuck.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
We can get unstuck.
Absolutely.
So
100%.
I would just like to go ahead and sum us up. This has been a great conversation, and I just want to thank you ladies for joining in on the conversation. But before we get off, I just want to make sure, is there anything else that you all feel that's important that y'all would like to share with the audience? Any takeaways?
I just want to share a couple of comments. You know, this is all about community. I don't think you all can see all the comments on my end, but one person says that this is beautiful. Count every blessing. Coach Brandy says, finding the joy because the sun is still shining with clouds and storms in the sky. We just can't see it, but it's there. Someone else said, reach out and tap in. Yes, Nikki. And someone else said, hearing God already gave us what we need. It's in my hands. So I think, you know, my closing kind of comments are just these spaces are so important, and let's not leave the conversation here. Tomorrow is Mental Health Action Day. So find something that you can do. Find someone you can tap into to check in about how they're feeling, how you're doing. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, to be a reflection that mental health belongs in all spaces. And if you are out there and you have lost hope and you don't feel like you know the path forward, please reach out to any of us, even anyone in the comments section, and we will be there to support you because we are meant to do life together.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I'll just say that you're doing better than you think you are. And you've already beat so many odds. So keep trusting God. Keep pushing forward. And remember that it truly is a day-by-day journey. And if you don't have community, pray for God to send you the right community. Because we don't want just anybody. We need the right kind of people. We need the right kind of body, right? So trust God. Take it day by day if you have to, moment by moment, and that is okay. And pray for the right community. If you already have it, reach out to them in whatever small way possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nikki. That is beautiful. And so, well, you guys heard all of the things that we've shared this evening. Before we close out, one of the things that I want to make sure, as Dr. Norwood has already stated, tomorrow is May the 15th, Mental Health Action Day. This was our pre-lunch. So make sure that you are asking that you are acknowledging, supporting, and keeping in touch with somebody tomorrow. We've given y'all all kind of tips and tools and ways that we can support and things that we can look for and do. So y'all got the tools. So we just need to get out there and make it happen tomorrow. You can do it across your social media. You're welcome to tag any of us in whatever you're doing. Tag us in what you're doing. Let us see, that you are really out here doing this thing and really pushing forward on this Ask campaign. And so if you look across at the bottom of the screen, just in the event if you connect with somebody or even you yourself, see that you are having some mental health concerns, you can always contact and reach out to the National Alliance on Mental Health, which is short for NAMI. There's a mental health support number that's here. It's 1-800-950-6264. And they also have a text line where you just dial 62640 and you can actually text them back and forth. And if you're even a bigger crisis, you can just dial 988. They've shortened it for you. You don't even have to do all those numbers.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses. Help is out here. You are not alone. You are not alone. So there are no excuses of why you can't reach out to help or ask to be able to help someone else. And so again, I would just like to thank you all for joining in on this great evening. Keep a watch out tomorrow. We got our video series coming out. Where the ladies have shared on that as well. So you'll see that coming out as well. And again, I just want to say thank you all, and you all have a blessed night.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night.